Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Reni Safrina. In this video, I will explain about differences of Cournot and Stackelberg model. In the very first step that we have to do is we have to know the main differences between Cournot and Stackelberg. The Cournot model, each company determines the output simultaneously. But in the Stackelberg model, one company determines output first, which is the leader firms, and then other companies will follow to determine their outputs after the leader company determines their output. Okay, next. What is actually the Cournot model? In the Cournot model, firms in an oligopoly market is producing homogeneous goods, assuming the other firm's output is constant and determine together or simultaneously how much output is produced. Before we go to the example of Cournot, we have to know and understand about the reaction curve or best response curve. What is reaction curve or best response curve? Is a curve that describes the relationship between the amount of output produced by another company, which is company 2, with the optimal amount of output produced by company 1 to maximize their profit, which is the best response to the number of units produced by the other company. Okay, next we will go to the example, which is duopoly with Cournot model. Okay, when firm 1 believes that firm 2 doesn't produce goods, and then the demand curve that it faces is the same as the market demand, which is D10. With this assumption, the company will produce 50 units at the condition marginal revenue 10 equals to MC1. For company 1, the best response when company 2 produce 0 units is to produce 50 units. So when the number of outputs that produced by firm 2 is 0, the best response for firm 1 is 50. So they have to produce 50 goods. And next, when firm 1 believes that firm 2 produce 50 units of the goods, the demand curve it faces is the remaining demand, i.e. the market demand curves shift to the left down 50 units. And also with this assumption, the company will produce 55 units at the condition MR150 equals to MC1. So when the firm 2 produce 50 number of outputs, and then also the firm 1 have to produce 25 goods. For company 1, the best response when company 2 produce 50 units is to produce 25 units. And the last, when firm 2 produce 75 units of output, and the best response of firm 1 is 12.5 outputs. The curve will be look like this. As we can see, in the vertical axis there is a Q1, which is when Q1 equals to 50, so Q2 is 0, like the table before, as we can see. And when the Q1 equals to 25, the Q2 equals to 50, and when Q1 equals to 12.5, the Q2 equals to 75. And this is the below straight lines is firm 1's reaction curves, and the upper curves is firm 2 reaction curve. So the intersection between these two curves, we call it Cournot equilibrium. Next example, in a duopoly market, there are the following characteristic, which is the market demand equals to P equals 30 minus K, and K equals to Q1 plus Q2, and MC1 equals MC2 equals to 0. So determine the equilibrium price and quantity and the income of each firm. Okay, for the explanation, we have P equals to 30 minus K, and as we know before, K equals to Q1 plus Q2, so our P is equals to 30 minus Q1 plus Q2. Okay, for firm 1, MR1 equals to 30 minus Q2 minus 2 Q1. The optimal condition is MR equals to MC. So we substitute the MR, 30 minus Q2 minus 2 Q1 equals to 0 because our MC is 0. So we got Q1 equals to 15 minus 0.5 Q2. Okay, for firm 2, the Q2 equals to 15 minus 0.5 Q1. And the Cournot-Nash equilibrium is, we can see from reaction curve intersections, which is 15 minus 0.5 Q2 equals to 30 minus 2 Q2. So we move the Q2 to left side. 2 Q2 minus 0.5 Q2 equals to 30 minus 15. So we got 1.5 Q2 equals to 15, and we have Q2 equals to 10. After we got Q2 equals to 10, and then we have to substitute into Q1 equation, which is Q1 equals to 15 minus 0.5 times 10. We got 5. So Q1 equals to 15 minus 5 equals to 10. And then after we got Q1 and Q2, we can substitute it into the P equation, which is P equals to 30 minus Q1 plus Q2 that we got before. Q1 and Q2 is 10, so Q1 plus Q2 equals to 20, and our P equals to 30 minus 20, P equals to 10. Next, we will talk about the Stackelberg model. In the Stackelberg model, one company determines output first, which is the leader firm, and then other firms will follow to determine their output. Firm 1 will take into account Firm 2's reaction after Firm 1 determines its output. And the reaction of Firm 2 is basis for Firm 1 to determine their output. Okay, for example, in duopoly market, there are the following characteristic, which is the same with our example in Cournot model. And we know the reaction curve, Q2 equals to 15 minus 0.5 Q1. And for Firm 1, P equals to 50 minus Q1 minus Q2. So we can substitute the Q2 into 50 minus 0.5 Q1, and we got P equals to 30 minus Q1 minus 50 plus 0.5 Q1, and then minus Q1 plus 0.5 Q1 equals to minus 0.5 Q1. So P equals to 15 minus 0.5 Q1, and our MR1 equals to 15 minus Q1. So for the optimal condition, we got MR1 equals to MC, which is our MR1 before we got 15 minus Q1, and our MC equals to 0. So in this equation, we got Q1 equals to 15. For Firm 2, their best response is Q2 equals to 15 minus 0.5 Q1. Then we have to substitute Q1 into this equation, and we got Q2 equals to 7.5. And then after we got Q1 and Q2 value, we can substitute into our key equation, which is Q1 plus Q2 equals to 22.5. So for the price, we can substitute the key into our P equation, and we got our price equals to 7.5. So if we compare the price in Stackelberg model with the Cournot model, which is the Stackelberg model, we got P equals to 7.5. But in Cournot model, we got P equals to 10. So we can give the conclusion, which is the Cournot get a higher revenue comparing to the Stackelberg. Okay, this is our conclusion for this topic. The Cournot tells each company determines the output simultaneously, but Stackelberg have one company determines output first, which is the leader firm, and then the other companies will follow to determines their output. And our conclusion is Cournot get a higher revenue comparing to the Stackelberg. Okay, that's all that I can explain to you. I hope you are understand, and thank you for listening. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.